this and we will get started. Okay. Hi, friends. Tonight we have a special guest on our Zoom, and I couldn't be more excited. We've been missing each other and trying to get connected on a Zoom like this. And so I am just really excited to hear from Tessie because she has been killing it. And I'm like, girl, what are you doing? In fact, just come on and tell everybody on our team what is happening. So Tessie, if you will just kind of get started and tell us a little bit about how you found the business, how the journey's been thus far, and then we'll get into some questions. Thank you for being here.
Okay, you guys, I'm so excited. I'm dealing with sinus and allergies, so I'm going to try and make it through without sneeze attacks and annoying you guys, but I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me. So before this business, I was a stay-at-home mom to 2 kiddos, and we were actually fortunate enough to, not have debt, to be able to do fun things with our kids, take them on vacations. We did a week cruise every single year with my parents. We would, with 2 kids on a cruise, like they're super fun, but they are kind of pricey. So we were fortunate enough to be able to save a little bit each month. And, I wasn't praying for a way or looking for a way to make extra income until, which I thought it was 15 months before I joined, but come to find out it was longer than that I was following Kelly Brown on Instagram. And I was watching and reading her stories every single day. I only had probably 20 to 30 followers. So literally I saw her post every day. I saw them move from Texas to Vegas. I saw her, buy a minivan in cash. I saw her retire her husband. Like, I watched the entire process. She asked me to join the business. We just went to Cabo for Sherry's leadership retreat. We went back in our messages. I asked some really dumb, annoying questions, which we think is so funny now, or they think it's funny, but 15 months probably, and longer than that, I think, was her reaching out to me commenting on her Target giveaway posts, because personally, we didn't shop at Target. We had money to do things and we saved, but we just chose Walmart, right? So I would comment on her host to post giveaways, and she would message me the script for host to post. And I was like, there's no way in the world I am posting that for my 30 followers on Instagram. It's just not happening. She would ask me to join the business. I would leave her on red the first time. And then I would just start asking questions. So if you ever have somebody that's asking annoying questions, commenting on your host to post, leaving you on red, don't give up on them. Keep following up with them, because that's what Kelly did to me. And I followed her journey along the way because she was always reaching out to me, always willing to answer my questions. And I literally would read every single post to my husband at night. And he was like, okay. And I'm like, I just think it's pretty cool. Like, that's awesome that she could do that. Like, I don't ever think it could happen to us, but for her, that's awesome. And finally, one day in February, my daughter asked me if she can join tumbling, and she was already in dancing. And I was like, okay, wait, where's this money going to come from? My parents always taught us to save. The first thing you want to do is save money. Like, you want to always make sure you have enough saved for in case of emergency or a rainy day or medical, like whatever it is, you want to have that money saved. And we were able to do that. But with her joining tumbling, we would have had to pull. So I was like, man, what are we going to do? Like, my mom, I'm a grown adult married in my own house with kids, but my mom would be so mad if she knew I wasn't saving money each month. And I just felt like, I looked at Colin, I was like, didn't want to tell her no. And he just kind of looked at me and we just kind of knew, like, it was that look of, it's time to say yes. Like, let's just try. And she reached out to me almost that same week. And it was just better timing. And it was $20. So I was like, okay, sure, why not? So she asked me to send her a friend request on Facebook. And I was like, I don't have Facebook. Can we just do everything from Instagram? And she was like, well, you really want to get Facebook? And I was like, oh my gosh. I laid in bed that night and I was like, Kyle, I have to make a Facebook account. My family's been wanting me to make one so that they can keep up with the kids. And I've always said, no, I'll never have a Facebook. I joined the business online. I talked to strangers, which my parents always taught me not to do. And now I have to create a Facebook. Like, what are people going to think of me? And he was like, well, I mean, we paid the money. You might as well just go for it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to create a Facebook account. I'm going to message her back, because I was thinking about not messaging her back. I was like, and I'm going to give it a year. And I'm going to do everything she says. And if I'm not making money at the end of the year, at least I can say I tried. And he was like, okay, let's do it. And you guys, 3 months in with no Facebook, 30 followers on Instagram, we promoted to double diamond. My husband's account promoted to diamond. We earned all the bonuses along with that at that time. So that was May 2019. And then last April, we promoted from double diamond to presidential diamond, which was so crazy, so fun and exciting. And then we are pushing for ambassador next year. And, guys, like I said at the beginning, I wasn't praying for a way. I didn't think we needed anything more. Like, we were fine. But this came along at a time where we kind of felt that, what are we going to do next? Right. And it's been the biggest blessing we didn't know we needed. We've been able to, save almost like we're able to save more in a month than we've saved for 15 years of us being together. It's incredible. I was able to buy him a new truck last year. And then the following month, we bought me a bigger Tahoe for the kids. They're growing, more activities, needs more room. This year in June, we were able to take a 2-week family vacation. And for me, I'm like never ready to go home from vacation. And I've always said, I will do a 2-week vacation. I just never want to come home. And my husband's like, I am not doing a 2-week vacation. That just doesn't sound fun. We've done 2 2-week vacations this year. And you guys, this business is just allowing us to do what we love. Make memories with our kids while they're young, take them on vacations, and let them remember these times when they're little that they got to go to the beach during the winter and get sick. They got to go to our camp. They got to go on extra vacations. I just booked, thanks to Christmas Cash, our first family vacation to Colorado in the snow, because we live in Louisiana and we don't get snow down here. And the kids and myself really want to see snow, me probably more than them, but I'm able to book a house for my parents, and we're all going together in March. And it's just been the biggest blessing. And I can't say it enough that this business is everything we didn't even know we needed.
I love that so much. Congratulations to you. That is so awesome. So my first question is how do you feel like what do you feel like motivates you to keep going when you don't need it? Because I think a lot of people get to the point where they're comfortable, and not just comfortable, like complacent. How do you kind of combat that? Because, like you said, you're saving so much, and, it's not like you need it. Your back's not against the wall. And so how do you kind of create that urgency within yourself?
So that was kind of one of the reasons why I didn't think I would be successful with this business, because I didn't have well, we're in debt and we were able to pay this off, or we couldn't pay our bills before this business. And now this $150 cash bonus just paid for, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, what can I say? How am I going to make it through? Right. But for me, growing our savings account is super important to me. That's like almost paying off debt. Like, I have a yearly amount that I want new money saved in our account from this business. And, my husband could retire from his, because he still works. My parents own an electrical company and he works for them, and he could retire. Do we think we could get along every day being together? I think it would be fun for a little while. And then after, I'd be like, okay, what's your next adventure? Right. But he could retire, and that's an option for now, which I don't think we would ever jump on. But what about when he's 40 or 50 and he just doesn't want to work anymore? He's not going to have to, because of what I'm doing right now. When our kids are going through, graduation and weddings and college and, all these things and having kids, I want him to be as present as I'm able to be. But it takes me doing the work now. It takes me saving for it now. And I was just talking to one of my girls, and she's a double diamond, and she was like, I just don't know what's going to motivate me to get this Christmas cash. And I was like, well, didn't you just tell me you want to do a family vacation? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, that's why I wanted Christmas cash, because I wanted one to save. I told myself I'm going to earn two. I want one to save, and then I want one to pay for our trip to Colorado. And it's the small wins. What do you want long term, but how are you going to make it happen short term? So, like, for me, I have a yearly savings account goal. Yearly goals might be too much for some people. What do you want? Like my sister, same situation. She had to make small goals. She wanted nail money monthly. I'm like, okay, so how much is your nails? And that's how it started, was these small goals each month. So yes, we didn't need it to pay off debt, but for me, if you give me a roadmap and tell me what to do to make X amount of money, I'm not red, I'm yellow, blue. But if you tell me, hey, this is how you're going to get to this, I can figure it out. And this is what I want yearly, and I can get it done. So I feel like it's just, you've got to decide, what are you working for, or what do you want small goals? If it's a savings account, or to pay for a vacation, or nail money, or, spending money, shopping money, what is that? And make those small goals, because that's what's going to wake you up in the mornings. Like for me right now, I'm working towards another Christmas cash. Do we need it? No. But what if I could put one in savings, one paid for our trip, and what if I can give one? Just donate it. It's something we've never been able to do before, but it's so awesome to me now. And so that's why I'm showing up to the Zoom sick. That's why I'm still waking up early in the mornings sick. And my husband's like, you're never going to get better because you're not resting. And I'm like, yeah, but I only have X amount of days to earn this Christmas cash, and I really want another one. It's the small goals that I set for myself that keeps me waking up, keeps me showing up, keeps me helping my team and enrolling and doing the job.
I love that answer so much. What do you feel like you said you're working for one more Christmas cash. Do you have like small daily goals that you try to achieve, or what does that process look like for you?
Yeah. So my daily goals it always revolves around host to post. If I know if I can get 8 to 10 hosts to post up every single day, then I'm going to grow my potentials list. And it's actually funny you said that, because my goal was to earn 2 to 3 for Christmas cash. And in September, I earned the first one. The last day I earned it. And in October, I earned it mid-month. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have plenty of time to go for another one. But I kind of got complacent in October. And then November, I was like, okay, it's time to rev it up. But I got to a point where I'm always at my 5,000 friends. It's just a struggle that I have.
The struggle.
And yeah, I'm like, Kelly, what do I do? She was like, just mass unfriend people. Just hurry up and do it. And I'm like, oh, I don't like unfriending, because I think of me. I watched you for 15 months. What if you would have unfollowed me on Instagram? So I'm like, oh, I don't like this. But in November, I personally print my friends list out, and I message down my friends list for distributors and host to post. So I send out 35 messages twice a day for host to post. It literally takes me 15 minutes each time. So it's like 35, especially if you're new, 35 might seem like, oh, that's going to take me forever. It doesn't. 15 minutes. And I have my little handy dandy little folder here, and it comes everywhere with me. And literally this is like, I have my friends list printed, and I go down.
What
and
time, like, do you have times that you do that? Like, is there like, okay, in the morning I'm doing 35, at night I'm doing 35. Do you have like 9 a.m.? Like, how do you like to operate?
So I don't specifically have a time. The morning one is usually around 8:30 to 9:30, because that's our team power hour. So I usually send out my messages then, and do like all my tasks then. But then in the evening, it's just whenever. Sometimes it's before I go get the kids from school, which is around 2 or 3. Sometimes if it's, if depending on how the day went, it's right before bed. The timing doesn't matter to me as long as I'm getting the messages sent out. And I'm messaging for that, and then for distributors as well down my friends list. So I do that every day. But in November, I was sending out the messages, and I'm like, okay, I'm not getting responses back. And I'm like, okay, I'm barely getting up 2 to 3 hosts to post each day. It's time for me to up. So I did 35 3 times a day. I did morning, and I did lunchtime. And then I was doing either right after school or right before bed 3 times. So I was sending out 100 messages a day. I was getting blocked. I wasn't getting my posts up. And I'm like, okay, that means no potentials are coming on my list. And I started to panic. And I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I want to, like, okay, if I don't get another Christmas cash, I'm fine with 2. But there has never been a month that Tessie hasn't enrolled customers or distributors. What's happening? And I feel like that's a point where so many people quit. And I went live to my team about it today. Is I feel like when people feel defeated or feel frustrated, they're like, oh, okay, this isn't for me anymore. And I could have did that, because it wasn't until Wednesday what was Wednesday, the 24th, I hadn't enrolled a customer or a distributor. I felt defeated. I felt frustrated. I'm like, okay, maybe this is like a sign. Like, I don't know, what is this? And I was like, Tessie, when you joined, you took quitting off of the table and you said you would never do it unless you weren't making money, and you're still making money. And your team's making money and your team is winning. And other people in the business are still winning with Host to Post and Facebook Reels, which I said I wasn't going to switch to, but I was like, I don't know what else to do at this point. It's middle of November and I have no enrollments, but I have a goal that I want to complete another Christmas cash. How am I going to do it? And I had to step out. First off, I feel like the Lord was just asking me to be faithful, which was something that I had to grow in, because before this business, we didn't go to church. We had a little boy, and when you leave church, you're supposed to think happy thoughts. And with our son in church, we just sometimes didn't think those happy thoughts. So we're like, you know what? This is just pointless. We're not going to church anymore. So this was something that I had been struggling in and knew I had to grow into. And I feel like this is what he was doing. He was like, you're not going to get enrollments until you trust the process and trust in me and be faithful. And I continued every single day to send out those 100 messages, knowing nobody was going to respond to me, which you're not supposed to think the negative thoughts, but I just knew. I was like, nobody's going to respond. I've asked everybody hundreds of times. I've gone down my friends list 5 times this year. I'm the most consistent person I will ever meet myself. And I'm like, these people you've asked hundreds of times, they probably think you're weird by now, or they've posted for you hundreds of times. You need new people. So I felt like he was asking me to be faithful and to trust him that he was going to provide when I was ready for it. And I had to pivot and say, what's next? If I really want this, what's next? Because for me, quitting's off the table. If I decide to quit, I go back to the same position we were in, not being able to save, not knowing where our future was going to go when our kids went into college or needed cars or got married. Like, yeah, that's years from now. But if I quit, nothing's changing. I'm going back to that. I'm choosing that life again. So I was like, okay, what are you going to do, Tessie? I'm going to do Facebook Reels because it's all I knew what was next. And
I
that's what I
love
did.
that. I think
And
it's so funny when people ask me, like, how did you do this? Or how did you do that? My question is, I did whatever it took.
mm-hmm.
Because like, you don't know, like, because what I did isn't going to work in the same way, or it might work better, or it might work worse, or you just don't know. But you just have the attitude of, I'm doing whatever it takes to do it, because that's what I said I was going to do. And I think, people will always ask me, like, how do you get so confident, or how do you gain confidence? And it's confidence comes from keeping the promises to yourself. That's where confidence comes. Confidence is not like this inherent thing that you're born with. The confidence comes from keeping the promise to yourself. It's just understanding that, like, you know what? I don't know exactly how, but I know that it's going to get done. And if it doesn't get done on my timeline, there's because I'm learning something in the process. There's something that I'm missing, but I know that I'm going to stick with it. I don't know how that process is going to look, or what I'm going to do if I hit this bump in the road or that bump in the road, but I know me, and I'm just going to show up. And so people are asking, do you message the same amount for Host to Post? Like, do you send 100 for a Host to Post and 100 for DTs, or how do you split that up?
So I'm mainly focusing on Host to Post. My goal is always 70 to 100 messages a day and 20 DT asks. But as I'm going down and sending out those Host to Post messages, the DT asks are filling themselves in. So I never really have to focus on the DT asks, but I will say it's just like Host to Post. It's a numbers game. The more DT asks you send out, the more people are going to say, yeah, sure, send me info. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm not going to send out just 10 to get 1 or 2 people to say, yeah, sure, send me info. I want more people saying yes. So my goal is 20 to 30, but going down my friends list, if I've sent somebody a Host to Post ask already, then they're getting a DT ask. I will always lead with Host to Post. If I've already done that, then I'll send out DT, and they just fill themselves in, and it just always works out for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think when you get so hyper focused, sometimes not you, but generic you, anybody, any of us get so focused on one thing, we lose the authenticity of the ask, right? Because like I don't necessarily say, okay, I'm gonna go send 20 DT messages, because I might not come across 20 people that I really want to work with. It's like I will send host to post messages because me, Bob, your friend Sarah, I don't care who hosts a post for me, right? But when it comes to doing the business, there are specific people that I want to work with, things that I look for. And so when I just say like, when I come across people's pages, my goal is to get 20. So I'm going to do that. But like within it, I think that that's such a more authentic way, because then you're not putting pressure on yourself of like, I have to ask the first 20 people to do the business with me, because then you're kind of just making it a little more inauthentic. So I love that. Somebody asks, gummies host a post? Okay. This is my thing that I tell people. Don't host a post for a product that you don't use or you don't have a connection with, because gummies probably works for you because you've probably gotten results with the gummies, or you take them every day still. Because if I do a gummy host a post, it's not going to work for me, because I'm not posting about the gummies every day, because I don't know. It just hasn't clicked in my mind to do it every day the same way that coffee has or whatever else. So I'm doing a coffee host a post because I know that I can talk to people about the coffee. I have my own results with the coffee. I can send them my personal before and after pictures. And I think that whatever product you've gotten results with, that's what product you should do a host a post with.
Yeah. And then also too, I feel like any host to post works as long as you're getting enough of them out. Yes, of course, if you have your own product, your own testimony, for sure. And I don't typically post about gummies every day, but as I'm messaging people from host to post with it, I'm automatically sending them my before and afters.
Mm-hmm.
So they're seeing, oh, okay, you do the coffee and the gummies every day. Cause I'm like, I feel weird taking a picture with my gummies and coffee every day. It's more natural just to take a picture with my coffee than both of them, but I have results with both. So as I'm, messaging them for that, I'm sending the results, but I feel like too, it's a numbers game. I used to do Thermophyte X host to post when I first joined, because that's what we did. And I didn't take Thermophyte X, but it was the amount that I was getting up and still sending some results. So it's literally numbers game. I'm like, this business is all numbers game. And I went to school for accounting. So it's perfect for me.
I can't believe you're yellow blue if you went to school for accounting. That makes me laugh, because most of the time you would think you'd be a little bit more green. Somebody asked, what's your go-to script when you message people for DTs without them reaching out to you first?
Okay, I can send that. I'm trying to get that from my boards. I'm really bad at multitasking.
Oh, no, you're fine.
But I have it.
I think we all are. Some people just cover it up better.
I don't.
Okay, next question. After you said that, let me know when you're ready.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, copy. So it's just it's just like a generic message with the I had, of course, like the Christmas cash, but then I've changed it since it's like kind of almost done. I changed it to just multiple $500 bonuses before Christmas.
Awesome.
So that's what I send.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sending that. Okay, question. What are you reading right now?
Oh, wait, I love this. And you can tell I'm sick. Oh, they're in the living room. I was reading it earlier. You can tell I'm sick because I always ask whoever I'm doing on a Zoom for the list of questions. I'm like, wait, I like to be prepared. But I'm reading right now, Jesus Calling, Fervent, and the power of a praying wife.
What was the second one?
Fervent,
Fervent.
Yeah, we're doing Stacey Alcala and Kelly are doing like a few of their triples and stuff. We're doing like a book club, I guess, and we meet every week on it, and it is rocking my world. So Sherry did her leadership retreat a couple of weeks ago, and it was in Cabo, and I just felt like I've always felt with being on Kelly Brown and Stacey and Sherry Alcala's team, they're just so passionate and faithful to God and just so involved, and I've never had that relationship with him, and I've always wanted to grow one, but I always was like, oh, I don't have time, or I don't know how to pray, or I don't know where to start. And being on that trip and just watching every single person in the room be so attached to him and rely on him in their business, where I realized I was relying on myself. Okay, Tessie, you want to promote, you've got to work harder. You've got to be on your phone more. You've got to do more,
Mhm.
and not putting it in his hands. And I was like, man, okay, I'm getting home and I am totally diving into this. Like, I realized I was just making excuses. Like, I don't have time. You stay at home with no kids. Yeah, you have all the time in the world. You're just not making the time. So when I got home from Cabo, I was like, okay, I'm starting with Jesus Calling. I'm just going to start small. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to start with that. It's one page, short and simple. I can do that, right? Literally within 3 days, I picked up Fervent and I'm reading it every day. And then I picked up The Power of a Praying Wife. And I'm like, wait,
That one's so good. Okay.
I
I
love
listened to
this.
that on Audible probably, I just started that this year, but I've probably listened to it every other month because
Really?
it's just like, because you can't over pray, you know what I'm saying? But like it gives you specific things. If any of you guys know anybody who's pregnant, the book Praying Through Your Pregnancy is also really good. It's like gives you specific things to pray for each week that you're pregnant. And I think it's just really cool to know the power of prayer. So Power of a Praying Wife is a really good book. I haven't read Fervent, but I love Priscilla Schreier. So I'm definitely going to need to pick that up.
Oh, that one is, I mean, it had me in tears last week. It's
Yeah,
really good. It's really, really good.
I love that. Okay. And Jesus Calling, for all of you guys who haven't had picked it up, it's just a daily devotional. It's really good. It's
Short.
short and sweet, but it will hit you. It'll hit you. What do you feel like, and you've kind of touched on a couple of things like with faith, but what do you feel like you're learning right now?
So, um, I feel like if I wouldn't have picked up so much on my self-development and waking up and praying for specifics, I really felt like where I am today, I wouldn't be for this month.
Mm.
Because remember, I said November 1st through November 24th, I literally enrolled with nothing. And I am always, not, I just want you guys to understand, I'm not trying to brag about any of it, but I'm always a top DT and LC enroller on Sherry's downline. Like, I know how to do the job and I like doing the job. I love it. But I was like, man, I felt so defeated. I was frustrated.
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm doing all this work and I'm not signing anything. But because I picked up on the self development, I knew that he was wanting me to take that next step of being faithful and trusting the process, which I know the business is trusting the process, but he wanted me to trust in him and know that you're being consistent and it's going to pay off.
Mhm.
Where if I wouldn't have picked up self development so hard last month, I just would have kept doing the same thing and have been
Mhm.
doing more. And I felt like I was choosing this business over my family, not on purpose, but my
It's a
husband,
drift. It's like a
yeah,
slow drift.
it is. And with the winter circle and with having to earn Sherry's leadership retreat and then the Christmas cashes, it's like I was always working harder to earn them. And
Mhm.
it's like I slowly drifted into that choosing this over my family. And my kids were starting to say, well, Mom, do you think you can come put us to bed tonight? And I was like, oh my God, I don't bathe my kids at night. My husband does. And he's like, no, you stay and do your work. Like, I got it, which is awesome. But I was like, it just became a habit. And then I wasn't putting them to bed every night. And I'm like, wait, I'm in this business so that I don't have to choose. And one of the chapters was taking a Sabbath. I don't take a Sabbath because I like to work, I like to do it. And I just felt like all of it kind of led up to this. And you guys, since Wednesday, because I decided to stay consistent, trust the process, and know that he was going to provide in the right timing for me. Since Wednesday, I've signed 5 distributors and 17 customers where I hadn't signed anything from the 1st to the 24th.
Yep.
But I stayed faithful. I stayed consistent. I did the task and I started putting my kids to bed, which sounds terrible, but I had to get out of that routine and it hurt. I'm like,
But it's real. Like, and I think that that's the thing that is not talked about enough is like, because this business gives you so much instant gratification, almost like you see so many physical results, like parenting doesn't, you're like,
Right.
bro, I've told you to say thank you every single day of your life. Why do I still have to tell you? Right. Or like, why do, there's just not a lot of gratification or pats on the back, and there is in this business. And so it can be easy to like this, and it can be easy to choose this. And I know that sounds horrible, but it's real, because people don't want to say those things. They don't want to say like, oh, well, I would never choose this business. And it's not a conscious thing. It's just a gradual thing that happens. And I love that you're talking about this, because I think what I'm hearing is, number one, like obedience is just being obedient to like the like urge on your heart, right? And that's the Holy Spirit. But also just being able to say to yourself and be real with where you're at, is like, okay, I'm waking up and I'm realizing where I'm at, and how do I want to change it? It's not, and one last thing that I'll point out that I think that you're learning in this is that you now have a different level of empathy for the people who go to in droughts, because I think like it's very easy, and I've gone through definitely phases of this, where early on when everything was cruising and everything's rolling and whatever, people would be like, well, I'm just growing. I'm like, well, you're not doing something then. You're clearly just not doing something. And like, that would be our response. Cause I'm like, I do the same thing and I don't have a drought and whatever. But like, now it's like, oh crap, now I'm eating my words, because those same tips that I'm giving aren't working for me. And so I love that you are sharing that, because I think that that's really, really powerful in a lot of different ways. So what would you say was your biggest or like your hardest thing that you've gone through in the business, beyond like what you're going through current, or what you went through in November? What was something that was really hard in your business?
Last year, losing rank was really hard for me. So I always heard, I mean, Sherry and Kelly and Stacey are always good about, talking about some of the things like it's a sales business. And even though it's sales, it's a business. My dad's electrical company has its bad months. It has its good months. It has its ups and downs. Like it does. And I know that because he's been in this business since I was in high school. He opened up his business. I worked in the office before this business as a stay-at-home mom. I was staying home with my kids, but also helping my mom in the office. I saw the ups and downs. I saw the ebbs and flows, and I saw it, right? But when I promoted to double diamond, within 3 months, it was, what did I say? February, March, April, May. So May 2019, all the way through the summer, through the winter, until April of 2020, I had never lost double diamond. I felt like I felt so awesome. I was like, man, I don't know what they're talking about, but people don't lose rank in this business. Like, I don't know what happens, right? And then we promoted double to pres, which was awesome. And it still never occurred to me that I would lose rank. And I maintained presidential for 3 months. And then I maintained triple for 3 months. And then I dropped down the last 3 months of last year to double. And it crushed me. I mean, I was crushed all summer through the winter. I'm like, man. And Kelly was like, Tessie, this happens. Like, I haven't always maintained. Sure. Like, nobody always maintains. And I was like, no, but I did. I never lost double. Like, why did I lose it now? Like, I don't know. So illiterate, I guess. I don't know. But it literally hurt me. I was like, it took a lot to pick me back up. And I think that's why this year I pushed so hard for the winner circle.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one, I counted myself out. And then the second one, I was like, wait, no, I can do it. I earned the second one. I earned the island. I earned Sherry's Cabo leadership retreat. And then it's like it slowly kind of picked me back up. I re-ranked. I kept pres longer this year. And even though Kelly was always telling me, Tessie, it happens. Like, it doesn't mean your business is failing. It doesn't mean you're not good at this business, or, it's just part of the business. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, but no, not my business. Here's little old Tessie. No, not mine. But I really think that it just had to happen in my business to put me where I am today.
Yeah.
Because even though it happens to everybody, I'm like, wait, no, it helped me where I'm at. Because when they told us about Christmas Cash at Winter Circle, I was like, what in the world? Wait, you're taking away steps to success. That's not good. Now you want my team to enroll less customers? What do you mean? Less customers and less distributors? How is that going to help me? Right. And I was like, wait, I can crush this 4-in-1. I know I can do my job. I can do that, those 4-in-1s, no problem. How in the world am I going to get my new DTs to do their side of it? Because the last 6 to 8 months, my new distributors weren't earning their shopping sprees. They weren't signing a customer.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I wasn't a good leader. Like I didn't know how to lead. And that's just how I felt. And it wasn't until they announced the Christmas cash that I thought about it. And I was like, oh, shoot, I want this Christmas cash because I don't miss out on bonuses, but how am I going to get them to do it? And when me and my husband went back to the hotel room, he was like, you don't really seem excited about this. Like, this is $5,000 paid out at once. Like, what do you mean? And I was like, I can't lead my new DTs. They haven't been signing. I don't know what's wrong. And he was like, Tessie, when you first joined, all of your team was promoting and they were all getting their shopping sprees. What were you doing differently? And I was like, wow, I don't know. And literally, it's like when I lost rank, it's like everything just wiped out from underneath me. I felt like I was brand new, didn't know what I was doing, when really I do. I know how to enroll customers and distributors, and I know how to teach somebody to do the same. This
Yeah.
post just got me a customer. Here, stick it on your wall. This just got me a distributor. Stick it on your wall. And he was like, that's all you have to do. Do it again. Be
Yeah.
excited for it. And I was like, oh, okay. Ding, ding, ding. Here we go. And that's literally all it was. But it took that time of, and I'm not saying everybody should lose rank to go through this, but it's like I felt so defeated for a year.
Well, and I think sometimes too, it's not just about, you don't have to go through defeat, but you get this humility, and it's the realization that as quickly as God gives it is as quickly as he can take it away. And I think that it's like, you don't think, like, I wrote in the chat, like, I didn't lose rank until I hit ambassador, after ambassador.
Wow.
And so I was like, yeah, everybody else loses rank. And I felt invisible, like invincible. Like I felt like, yeah, that's for everybody else. That's not for me. Like I mean, I feel for those
awesome
people.
at this.
Well, and I feel for those people. I feel bad for those people, but that's never happened. Like, I think that it humbles you, but with humility, sometimes the devil will slip in there and make you second guess yourself, and make you second guess God, and make you second guess your choices, and make you feel that like very insecure with what you did accomplish. And I think that I was telling somebody else this, I was like, when you hit a rank, you're always that rank. Like you accomplish that rank. Like it's not like it ever gets really taken away from you. But I think because we lose sight of it and it's out of sight, out of mind, we're like, oh, that, I don't know, maybe I'm not that. And maybe I'm not that good. And we start to question ourselves because we put our identity in a rank. And that's where God will say, if you're holding on to something so tight, I don't want to fight with it. I'm not going to fight with this. I'm gonna take it away from you. And I think that, like, and even in the Bible, it says that God is a jealous God, right? And so if our rank and all of that becomes more important and a bigger part of our identity, he will take it away. And it's not the devil, it's not, but it's literally, there's something to be learned from that. And so I love that you were talking about like just kind of the pill of the humble pie, you know, the slice of humble pie that everybody kind of has to eat at some point in their business. So with going back to what you said about, you felt like, I know I can do it, but I don't know if my team can do it. What do you feel like changed in that? Like how did you shift your mindset in that? Because I'm a firm believer that people rise and fall in the level of our expectation. So like, if I don't think my team's going to do it, they're probably not going to do it because there's just an aura and an energy that's going to come off around that. So how did you kind of switch your mindset and then obviously what other like tasks and physical things did you actually change to help your team?
So thankfully, when I heard about it, we were at the Winter Circle, which was in August. So I had a month to kind of game plan, which I know everybody didn't have, but I had to switch and know because Kelly always says pace of the leader, pace of the pack. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm not going after the 4-and-1s, my team won't. If I'm not excited for it, my team's not. So what I started doing is still leading my team the same way. But I put that expectation out there for them, not realizing it. So my new DTs coming in, I trained them the same way. I was just more excited. I talked to them more every day. I led them better. I was more active with them, than I was before. I'm like, okay, well, here's a post and put that up and then just let me know. No, I was sending them posts. I was sending them slides. I was helping them create slides. I was asking them about their family, going to their page, liking their posts, seeing what was going on in their life, messaging them about it. Like I was so into them as a person because I wanted to be their friend because I'm yellow. I wanted friends, but I also wanted them to earn this bonus for themselves. Like $150 for somebody right when they join the business, that's going to keep them here for a long time. It's going to keep them here longer than them not earning anything. Like that's immediate wins for these new people coming in. And as they're signing up, a lot of my new distributors come from host to post. People that host a post for me, I immediately ask them to be a DT. So as they're saying yes and they're signing up, they have this post on their wall. And all 3 of my DTs that I signed in September, which completed like my first one, posted gummies or giveaway for me, and their posts blew up. So they all 3 completed their 4-and-1s literally within like 3 days. But I also gave them that expectation of, hey, your first goal is going to be to sign 4 customers and 1 teammate, and we're going to try and do that this week. I wasn't saying, hey, we have 30 days. Hey, we're going to try and do it this week, right? And my first one completed it within less than 24 hours. My second one completed it, I think, in 2 days. And then the third one took like 3 or 4 days, maybe. But it's, and Kelly always did this with me, and you kind of forget, I don't want to be bossy, but Kelly always told me what to do. Like, okay, hey, we're going to go Ruby this month. This is how, like, just kind of gave me steps, but told me. And that's kind of what I did with them. This is your goal, 4 customers, 1 distributor. It's going to get you $150, and we're going to do it within this next week. And then once you complete this, I'll let you know the next step, but it's more money coming, and kind of like telling them their goal and then showing them the vision of what's next. There's going to be more coming, right? It's going to be more cash. So really it was my mindset of, I want to complete these Christmas caches. Like, yes, I want my newbies winning. It's never all about me. That's just not my heart. But I want a Christmas cash too. Like, I want you to earn yours, but I want my share too, right? So I was like, if I want this to work, I have got to lead them differently. And my differently was the same steps, just being more excited, more into them and their personal life, connecting with them, creating that relationship and being excited for them. And like, literally, I kind of probably babied them, like, hey, send me a picture and I'm going to make you this slide because it's just so much easier for me to do it and send it to you so I can pass it along to everybody else. But it was just being excited, and they felt that excitement. And almost, I mean, 3 of those, one of those newbies completed hers already. One is super close, and another one's about to promote to Ruby. I'm like, this didn't happen in the last year for me. But it was the mindset of, I want to earn this Christmas cash, but I also want my newbies earning it. And I'm just going to be excited and go for it and see what happens. And if I don't complete it, how many 150s did I earn? How many 150s did my team earn? Like, so having my eye on the big goal and the small goal for my team, and just having fun and being excited.
I love that. I love that so much. So with everything that you've been learning in this season, like what's like your next goal?
My next what?
Your next big goal?
Oh, we're going ambassador.
Okay.
Our team's going ambassador.
Yes, I love that. Now let me ask you this, and I'm not saying this, I hope it doesn't come off the wrong way, but how many times have you missed that goal?
So I was supposed to promote to ambassador this year. Well, really, we went double to pres last year, and that was in April. So I seriously thought I still had time to go ambassador in June. I was like, okay, our team's like going and we're going strong. And looking back on my posts, like on my what do you call it? You can like search. I go back.
Memories.
Yeah, memories. I was gonna say timeline. I knew that wasn't right. Going back on my memories, I kept shouting it out after we went presidential. And each month I was losing teammates. I'm like, wait, we just had an awesome time. We had like 23 promotions that month. Like it was an awesome month. How is all these people quitting? Like what's going on? But I was still shouting out ambassador every month, May, June, July, because Kelly had told me, okay, it might take 2 months to go from press to ambassador. I'm like, okay, we can do this. We're going ambassador in June. We got this. Missed it. Missed ambassador this year quite a few times. And then this summer, I was like, it's okay. Like I knew in my heart, I still felt defeated from losing press. So I was like, okay, during the summer, I kind of got over it. Like I felt like I got over it. So I'm like, we can totally promote to ambassador during the winter. People have done it. I know there's people that promoted in the winter. Why can't I do it? We're going to do it. We didn't promote. We didn't promote, but I just feel like along the way, there's just been so many lessons. And
Yeah.
what if I would have won ambassador and lost rank? I know once I go ambassador, I will lose rank, but I think now leading into it, I'm in a better mindset for it, to not feel defeated, to not stop me from opening up a 2.0 and going further and helping my team to go further. So we've missed it for almost 2 years, but it's fine.
No, and I'm only asking that question because I think that that's where a lot of people quit, is because they feel like, we put things on our dream board, and dream boards are great, but dream boards aren't timelines. Like, because a goal takes you 2 years instead of 1 year, does that mean it's going to mean less when you get there? No, it will actually probably mean more, right? Like it's not, you don't stop wanting it just because you don't get it in its timeline. You don't change the goal, you adjust the timeline, right? And so I think that a lot of people get discouraged because they're like, well, I keep going after the same thing, and I keep going after the same thing, and I feel bored with this, or I feel like it's so far out of reach or whatever. And I think that it's really easy to focus on that because it is such a tangible thing that we lose sight of what God is actually doing inside that we can't see, right? And how he's preparing us and how he's molding us and shaping us in order to be prepared. So one prayer I always pray is, Lord, don't bless me beyond what my character can sustain. Don't bless me beyond what my character can sustain, because I don't want to get to a goal and just get to it. I want to stay there. Right. And I think that just realizing that, like, when the timing is right, you'll get there, but you'll never get there if you give up. And so, I want each of you to ask yourself, like, what goal have I given up on just because I didn't hit it in time? What goal did I give up on just because I didn't hit it when I thought I should have, or when I thought I would have? And ask yourself, if it's still on your heart, is it worth re-pursuing? What's the re-pursuit going to look like? And I think that that's so crucial to really take inventory, because sometimes a delay isn't always a denial. It's not always just because something's delayed doesn't mean it's denied. And sometimes we take a denial, like a delay, as a denial. And that just couldn't be further from the truth. Okay, a couple of questions. You said all of it. Yep, fresh fish jump first. I love that. I follow up the next day as well. I think there's something to be said for momentum within conversations, because if you have a conversation on Sunday and you wait till Monday or till Friday to follow up, I think sometimes it can be challenging to kind of re-energize that. And so I always just try to follow up the next day. And my follow-ups are not scripts. My follow-ups are literally like, hey girl, just wondering if you saw my message. I know life got crazy today or yesterday or whatever. Like, mine are literally not like a script. It's just being like, I'll even send a voice message, and I know that people have scripts and stuff, and that's not a bad thing. It's just making it authentic. Like, hey girl, just wondering if my message came through. My Facebook's acting funny. Like literally that's all I tend to say. Like it's something so simple, because that's what I would say to a friend. Sometimes I'll even just resend the same message twice and just resend the one that they didn't respond to. I'm trying to think if there's any other questions that we missed.
I use the little point finger. I'm like, hey, if they leave me on red, I'm like, hey, just wanted to see if you saw this. And I put the little pointing up.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
like they're like, oh yeah, I did. I got busy. Or some will say, yeah, I'm not interested. Like, but at least it's getting them to reply back to me. And most of the time they're saying why. Like it's too like it's not something I want to do, or I forgot, or it's just not the right time. Like it gets them coming back with something.
Yeah. Did you ever have a hard time adjusting to the no's?
No, because when I first started the business, the first book that I read, because Sherry and Kelly always talked about self-development, was Go for No.
Yes, I
And that was
love
the
Go for
very
No.
first, they were like, it's short, it doesn't take long. So I got it on Audible and it took like 2 hours total, I think is what it was. So that was the very first book that I read. And whenever I joined, it was Thermophyte XX had just been released. So it was like a hot commodity. Everybody wanted it. So it's like,
Yes. Yes, I love that. I love that. Is there any question that you feel like I should have asked that I didn't ask?
me?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's a different one. Wait, hang on.
Like, is there anything that just like on your heart to share, or something that like you like, that you're passionate about talking about, that anything that, you wish you would have heard maybe when you first got started?
Yeah. So I did want to say this on Sherry's retreat. She said, and I like, because you were talking about time, and that's why it made me think of it. It says, never give up on a dream because the amount of time it's taken to happen, because the time will always pass. So even if you have a goal on your dream board and it doesn't come true this year, are you going to quit because it took a year and that didn't happen? Because next year, guess what? It's not going to happen if you quit, because you like the time's still going and you quit. So how's that going to come true now? It's like, and I think that's a big part of this business, was like, we kind of put a time frame on everything, which I think is awesome to set that goal, because you're going to meet the goal quicker and easier if you have it set rather than just kind of blind shooting for it. But it's like so many people feel defeated if they don't hit that goal. Like I'm looking at mine right here and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That says 20,000 a month, ambassador, top 25, and that's not happening this year, right? But so many people feel defeated by it and like, oh, well, that didn't happen, so this business isn't for me. But guess what? Next year, if I quit today, none of that's going to happen. It's still not going to happen. So
Yep.
why not give it another year? Give it however long you have to give it for the Lord to say you're ready for ambassador. You're ready for top 25. Because I don't want to get top 25 this year and then everything go crazy and only get maybe top 150 next. Like, because then you feel defeated more. He's going to give it to you when you're ready.
Absolutely.
But I think, I don't know. My thing is, you always want to set your goals. And whenever I came into the business, Kelly was like, okay, give me a short term and a long term goal. And I was like, okay, diamond by December. And she was like, we're in February. Like, no, we got to reiterate these goals. So I feel like always having a short term and a long term goal in your life, in your family, in your business, and all of it is awesome. And you have to do that to keep yourself going and motivated. And I remember whenever I was not really knowing it, whenever I first joined, going diamond in my second month in, I had told Kelly, I was like, so this was in April. Yeah, April. I was like, okay, April 2nd's here. And I'm like, Kelly, we have a cruise booked, and I'm not gonna have service on the boat for 5 out of 7 of the days. Like, and she was like, wait, you're pushing for diamond this month. And I was like, yeah, but it's gonna be fine. Like I'm gonna but we already had it planned, right? But I knew my goal was diamond. I knew that I was pushing for this promotion. I knew My sister was in the business. She was pushing for a promotion. I knew Kelly, Kelly was trying to promote to ambassador. Like I knew a lot was happening this season and that season, and I didn't want to miss out on it. And I kind of hated having the cruise booked, but it had already been booked, right? So what did I do? I had to set a schedule. And what I did was, and remember, this is 2 months in the business. Okay. So brand new. We were on the boat, cruising to the island, no service. I didn't buy the Wi-Fi package. When we docked at the island, I took my phone out and I worked. I sent out my host to post messages. In the taxi ride to the resort we were going to, I worked. When we got to the resort, I put my phone down and I spent time with my kids. Lunchtime, picked my phone back up and I sent out messages.
Yeah.
Got back to the resort, taxi ride, picked up my phone, got on the boat, picked up my phone until I lost service, right? And this is as a brand new person. I've just always been disciplined, but I always feel like it's what got me here today. And you guys, in those, so there was 3 days we were on the island. Those 3 days I enrolled like 15 customers just from the work I did that day. And when we got home, when we docked in New Orleans, I will never forget it. My son started throwing up before we even got off the boat. I'm like, what in the world? How are we going to get off of the boat and not have him vomit everywhere? My husband started vomiting in the car on the way home. My daughter started vomiting the next day, and I was the next day. So we had like 4 days of this. I enrolled 27 customers in those 4 days because I didn't make excuses.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to be ugly or harsh or anything like that. I'm saying that with all of the pink hearts. I didn't make excuses of, oh, well, my whole family's sick, so I just can't work the business. And I'm not saying you have to do that. But when I felt like I needed to nap, I listened to my body and I took a nap. But when I woke up and I was laying in bed with my son and my daughter on the side of me, I was sending out messages. Was I tired? Yeah, but I had a goal. I knew I was going for diamond, and so did my kids. So did my husband. I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to let myself down. I knew I had to keep going or it wasn't going to happen. And I'm not saying you have to do that, because I feel like now I work less time during the day than I did when I first started, just because I know I don't have to be on my phone 24/7. But when I'm on my phone, my fingers are rolling. I am doing the job. I'm doing the work. I'm not scrolling. I'm not answering text messages. My mom will text me. She'll call me. I know you're on your phone. I'm like, yeah, but I'm working right now. I'm working right now. I'll call you when I'm done. And I'm sending out my messages. I have my task sheet that I have. I didn't make it. I'm not taking, but I have this out. And when I'm designated working time, I'm doing my task sheet. And I'm not answering anything during that time, so that when I'm off of it, I can spend time with my kids. But it's about deciding, what do you want? You have to go, or say you have a full-time job, 8 to 5, whatever your time is, you have to go to that job. You have to be consistent and wake up and go to that job every day, or you're not going to get paid. You have to do payroll, whatever your tasks are at that job of whatever you do, you have to do that every single day to get that paycheck. It's the same thing with this business. You have to be consistent daily to receive your check from this. To receive the, being faithful. That's going to get you to be fruitful with the business. And I'm like, if I go to an 8 to 5, I have to do the job. This is only different because there's no boss on top of us watching us, writing our checks, right? We're our own boss, but there's still tasks and jobs to this. And if you treat this like a full-time job, not saying you have to work it from 8 to 5, but if you treat the tasks like your task at your full-time job, you guys, it's going to pay off. You're going to get that $150 bonus, or that $350, or that Christmas cash that you're still running for, because there's still time. I still need enrollments, but I'm still going to make it happen because there's still time.
Yes.
And you can still do it.
I love that.
What do you want? You have to decide, what do you want?
I love that. So good. Such a good reminder. Thank you so much for spending your night here. I really appreciate it. I value your time. And so I don't take it lightly that you spent time with this. Drop a 1 if you guys got something out of this. This was amazing. I'm going to close us out in prayer. And just, I want you to know that we're so grateful that you spend time with us, and we appreciate it.
Thanks so much
Dear
for
Jesus.
having me.
And Jesus, we just thank you so much for Tessie. We thank you for her leadership and her heart. I thank you for just connecting us and for having our paths crossed. I just ask that you would just bless her business, that you would help her just receive this, everything that you have for her, and help prepare her heart to be able to receive it. I know that just because we have success, it doesn't actually take away any of the fleshly desires that we have. But I know that our faith can be made stronger in those moments, and that our strength can be tested. And I just ask that you help give her strength, and you help give her perseverance. And I just thank you for her drive and for her motivation and for making her the way that she is. I ask that you bless her team, and I just pray all the success over her business. Lord, I ask that every single person on here just feel encouraged, that they just take one or two things away from the Zoom and implement it, and that they know that that's the best thank you that they could give either one of us. And the best praise they could give you is just to work hard with what they have. We know that everything that you have for us, we'll be ready to receive it when you say we're ready. And so I ask that you just help continue to prepare us, that you would just place courage on our heart to do the things, not just to know what to do, but to actually do what we know we should be doing. And I just thank you for giving your son Jesus, and I pray all of this in his name. Amen. I love you guys. Thank you, Tessie, so much.
Thanks so much for having me, y'all.
You're welcome. Bye, girl.